Okay, so today I'll be continuing with my little black and red combo deck, and I have been enjoying it, and I especially like the fact that it happened to work out in Historic. For whatever reason, when I went to make it, I didn't realize that it would fit into Historic. I was just trying to make it period with whatever red and black cards I felt like doing. And so maybe it just happened by accident, or maybe I somehow had the filter on for it being only in Historic when I was crafting it, but I don't think so. I think I was in Timeless, and I just... whatever cards I wanted to use happened to fit in Historic, so I'm pretty happy with it anyway. And so the black cards are mostly related to... and in fact, at some point I should probably change it. I know this orb thing is running out pretty soon too, so I should maybe use it, but maybe not right now. At some point I should split it in two, and so there'll be a black only deck and a red only deck, but for now I kind of like this hybrid. And so what I have is the ability to... again, most of the black cards are to do with discarding, which again, I'm not a huge fan of that mechanic, but it's basically just trying to cuck their ability to play stuff too. I especially like the Painful Quandary is kind of fun. There's all sort of cut cards that prevent them from doing stuff or force them to discard, etc. Which again, they're a little bit slow and not very efficient. And then red is all just about dragons themselves and flying, and obviously making them cheaper to play, so it's pretty straightforward. So pretty much I don't have hardly any minions for black. So black is just, again, more about cuckery style of play, and red is more about kind of shitty value dragons, admittedly, because most dragons in the game are pretty bad value, and again, you have to build them and base them around the cost reduction effects and things of that nature, which are able to you know, to sort of justify that, oh, dragons aren't bad value, you just have to play this card and this card to try to reduce their cost, like the little whelp or whatever. There's a bunch of cards, the shaman, right, that reduce dragon cost, but again, why should I have to go out of my way and do that just to make them good value in the first place? What I said I would do after this expansion is we'll go back to green, because I've sort of worked my way to that, where I played green most of the beginning of this playthrough. Then I did that little thing last season where I did, last expansion where I did white and blue. Now I'm doing red and black, so it's only inevitable that then I go back to doing green. And I should almost make it some sort of permanent challenge, but like where I have to get to Mythic, and it'll be my first time ever really attempting that. I have to get to Mythic, or I have to like delete my account or delete my collection or whatever. I guess you can't really delete your collection because you can't disenchant stuff, so whatever. But the point is that I don't know if I'll have time to really do that. That's the issue. I don't mind if I fail because of my ability, or I don't mind if I fail because of my collection or whatever, although my collection probably is pretty good if you consider, you know, playing for like about 2 years. I should have enough there to potentially do it, but again, I don't know how much time I'm going to have to put into it. That was the issue almost with Hearthstone too when I tried to do it. It's not a question of whether I can do it. It's a question of whether I have enough time to even attempt to do it. And it kind of encourages you to play an aggro deck, because then whether you win or lose, right, there's always going to be good aggro decks, but it's like whether you win or lose, you're always going to have, the outcome's going to be quick at least. You got to balance what colors you really want and what amount. See, again, 5 mana, 5/5. Wow, but I don't care about all his other effects. I care about the fact that it's just, you know, static value. Like, I don't really care. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile top 2 cards, etc., becomes a little bit too much of a nuisance to worry about. Hey, Stars, thanks for the sub. You don't know how? What do you mean? How you subscribed for that long? And he's gone already? You must have just left it on auto-subscribe, I guess. Okay, so you go ahead and do the flying thing. This menace is okay. This is actually a new card, I'm pretty sure, from this very expansion. Right, I guess that's the Bloomborough icon. I never really know these icons offhand. Yeah, that is good. He's definitely my longest streak that we have. Okay, that's fine, although the flying is a little bit annoying because I can't really do anything about it. I don't really care about that right now. You saw the arc is finally over. Yeah, that was a little bit disappointing. I mean, it was at least a suitably epic thing where the guy's chasing me around the whole map and then knocks me in the water. But the whole thing with that is, technically I still had 10 more lives left, but I didn't want it to go on forever because that life had gone on so long. Yeah, that one's over. Smite might be over pretty soon too, because there's only so many heroes that I have left to play. It's not one of those where the rotation is switching every week, otherwise it could go on like forever, because they'll keep giving you other free gods to play as every week. I guess they're only not doing that because the sequel came out, so they're probably just satisfied with leaving it the way it is. Okay, so now I can't attack with this anymore. I can attack with that. You make it 3-1. That is pretty good value. I don't know if I've gotten a chance to really play it so far. Let's just do this too. See, this is the kind of board that we live for, although still some of it is not really that good. How can I still do that? I always mock the convoke mechanic when I play as green because, you know, oh, do I want to tap my minion that... Do I want to tap my minion that's giving me mana to get mana? Like, because so many of those are mana generating minions anyway. Discard a card. This is going pretty well, actually. Okay, see you later. Yeah, good night. Yeah, that is pretty crazy. I didn't even realize it was that long. It was tried for 12 months on a 12-month streak. Even he's surprised, too. Okay, let's see. We get a 3-1 again. Or wait, what do you have to get a 3-1? If you may play them on the next turn, exile top 2 cards. If you exile the land card this way, create a 3-1. Okay. This is pretty good too. Discard a card. That doesn't count though, I guess, if it's exiled. Whatever, we should easily win this no matter what. Yeah, like my main viewership on this channel has been based around me playing chess. Like that's always the #1 thing that everybody I know is mostly from chess, whether it be Nightmare, whether it have been Andre, whether it be Simply, whether it be, you know, Stars here, virtually everybody, Wormius, who else was kind of like a regular viewer. Some of them were from PvZ, I guess, Freshwater and stuff, but even that'll be sort of a limited thing because I'm not going to play that for that long in terms of Herald of Anguish. And again, I only got him because I like the passive effect of making them discard a card every turn. But other than that, he's not very good value. 7 mana, 5/5. Improvise doesn't affect me. The other effect doesn't affect me. You know, it's a stark change from either my debate format or other permanents hard modes that I used to do in the past. Now I'm a filthy casual who does like... Damn, he's still not dead though. He's like a filthy casual. I'm like a filthy casual who only plays turn-based games, card games, board games, fucking chess. You know, I don't really do my hardcore stuff as much anymore. And even anything that would be attempted to be that way is, you know, I find ways to still do creative, fun formats. Like, obviously, the Smite thing is permadeath. But basically, everything I do is permadeath in a way. Even with these card game series, I would do stuff like that more often in the past, but I guess now I haven't. Wait, this is one of my favorite cards, obviously, in this, but I don't have enough ability to actually do this because this you're probably not going to really want to go out of your way to play anyway. I don't really get cucked on lands too much with this deck, but what I do have happen is sometimes you get cucked on the color, like, oh, you'll need like 2 red, but you'll have only 2 black, and so you'll have enough land in effect, right, but just not the right color, which is the whole reason why I don't like hybrid decks and stuff in general. But the whole irony is, speaking of green again, I always get it with respect to the ability of, again, you can use a hybrid deck without using any other land besides green, because I have the Carotid and all these other things that give you 1 mana of any color, right, the mana generating minions, and so you don't have to worry about it then when it comes to the fucking, you know. So I was using hexproof blue cards just because I like hexproof, but then it doesn't matter because, you know, I can still use the green minions to basically get that for you. So now you have this one. Again, one of these things that obviously reduces the cost. That is pretty good value, but in this case, I don't really have enough things to benefit from that. Okay, maybe he'll actually win this one. He's gotten off to a very good start anyway. So I still need... Wait. Okay, we can do this even though he could obviously block it. Wait, you could easily do it and you still wouldn't die, so I don't get it. No, it is a little bit annoying that they actually have an answer for flying here, which is the one thing I often exploit with this is that, oh, you know, no matter how good their deck is, they might just not have flying minions themselves, but of course here they do. Quite the nice long animation there. At the beginning of the end step, if you gain 5 or more life this turn, create a 4/4 white angel token with flying and vigilance. Until the end of the turn, it gets +2/+2 in lifelink. If you gain 5 or more life this turn, and now you have a 9/9, so yeah, this isn't going very well. This is going to be create a 4/4. It's not really going to be that useful. So again, the real reason why I'm losing isn't even because of the board. It's more because they have flying specifically, and because of the healing they've done. Otherwise, I could have still chipped away all these turns, even if they were the same values, right? Well, the healing alone will do it for you. So now I'm going to lose a best of 3 where I win the first game pretty dominantly. This is why I like the best of 3 dynamic, where both players get a chance to have things go their way, basically. That can be pretty fun if you actually had a lot of shit. Right, if you had like 9 dragons, it would have just killed it right there. There's one opponent that didn't understand that effect, so they kept attacking in and kept losing it for that reason. Yeah, Arc ended in a hilarious way, so what other sort of off-kilter series do we have going on? I mean, a lot of these are sort of standard. You know, just card games and chats are always going to be there, but so Wednesday is the whole Smite thing, which is a little bit unique with the whole Permadeath God Gauntlet, and then Thursday is the Throwback Thursday, which has been a little bit unusual. Then Friday is PvZ Heroes, which is going to be coming to an end soon, and then I wonder what I'll do then with that Friday one after that. I don't even know. Or I was going to do another card game like Duelist 2 or something. Maybe I have too many card games then, though. I could always do something else, but Saturday is like just the flex format where I play sort of random stuff. But those are like the main ones that are different, you know, a little bit different than just these mundane ones that seem to go on forever. But no, when I do the ending of this series for the whole green challenge that I'm going to do, I'll either move on to playing Magic Online, or I'll just... whether I'm successful or not at getting the Mythic, I could use that as a segue. But the same thing with like the PvZ Heroes finale is like whether I succeed or not, I will say, you know, oh, I get to rank 50, so I don't have to delete my collection, but then I still stop playing it, right? It'll be like the finale. Or if I do have to delete my collection and fail, I still am gonna not play it. So, you know, it's just an epic way to sort of finish off. So we get a 3 mana 7/6, which is utterly fucking bonkers value here. Right, almost like it's a green card, and very fittingly it's a dinosaur. Like, even when you're not playing as green, only through a dinosaur can you get such good value. Like, what the fuck, dude? And I don't care about discarding stuff at all. The only thing we need to do is decide to, doesn't really matter that I enter tapped. Whenever a creature an opponent controls enters, you gain 1 life. Again, just because of the healing and stuff, I can't really do a whole lot about this. Okay, okay. Our opponent discards 2 cards, reveals their hand. I would be pretty happy with doing that, actually. Yeah, like, what option am I choosing? That's the fucking thing. Because when they only have 2, they obviously don't have a choice. So they're in a pretty cucked position here, which shows you their deck probably isn't that good, but it's not like mine is very good either. But even this I can't really do anything about. Whenever you activate the ability of Sarkhan Planeswalker, while it deals 1 damage to any target. I always need like a better way to display my chat. Not that it's super active, but it's like I always have to look over. He comes in just to do that. Subscribe to tier 1. I don't even know how the tiers work anymore. Like, is tier 1 the best or is tier 3 the best? I feel like tier 1 is. People always make fun of that, like with Pokimane. Oh, this guy's this tier 1 Pokimane sub or something. I like how certain things like that are associated with individual people when it's like an overall tendency, like, you know, oh, they find her attractive, so that's why they subscribe. But like, there's a lot of things like that where people might do that, so it's not about them, right? Don't hate the player, hate the game. Like, you know, oh, did you know that being attractive leads to people sometimes trying to do certain things, or what the fuck is even going on? If you have at least 15 or more life than your starting total, each player at attack loses the game. Okay, fine with me. I started off that one pretty good, you know, the first game, but that's why the best player always wins in a best of 3, so I guess he did. His deck was better or whatever, it hard counters mine. Some of this healing stuff is just so cancer. Like, I hate white so much for that. Blue can be annoying because it counters everything you do at times, which you might think, oh, that's what I like to do, but not quite in that way. I don't know. Like, removal I don't like. I don't know. I like preventing people from doing stuff in the first place in a base way, like your spells cost more for the rest of the game, like an Orb of Deception or whatever it was called. There's an orb in Magic Online that we saw. Makes all your spells cost 1 more and stuff like that. You know, the same vein as like Jinzo spell canceler type of shit. But it's not a case where Squirrel folk are the pragmatic stewards of the valley cycles of life and death. Yeah, we should have the type advantage this whole expansion because everything is to do with the grass and the fucking whatever nature, and so I have the ability to I don't really like any of this shit that I've gotten, but okay. I don't think I've gotten a chance to play that Shield Dread so far either. Sort of different than the one you see very commonly, the 4/5 that just whenever you draw, you gain life. Whenever they draw, they lose life, right? That. Fanatic of Ronus. He was that one god that I would always use as green. I haven't used green in actually a super long time now. I mean, at least since the last expansion when I decided to do that blue nonsense. I just love the fact that he has haste. Like, that really is important. But I'd rather him cost 1 and he doesn't have to have it. I just care about the other effect. Or by that logic, it should be like, only if he does damage to your opponent's hero, then you get the effect of it reducing everything by 1. So that's why he has haste, so you can always get it the first turn. And then I have that stupid 1 cost that's like, if you have like 7 lands or 6 lands or something, it summons like a 5/5 dragon, but the fact that it's a 1/1 minion means that it can very easily be dealt with, where it's kind of a waste, and it's a mythic card too. Discard 2 cards is fine with me. I don't really care about the exact one, and I won't know really what is going to be their best thing. Bristly Bill, Spine Tower. This is sacrifices an enchantment, reveals their hand. You may choose a creature enchantment, make them discard it. Oh, no, I'm not going to give that guy up to do it, though. At least here I have the flying advantage that they just can't deal with it at all, as green often can't do. As a green player myself, I understand the pain of that. Yeah, I played this game for basically 2 years, and probably over a year was just me playing as green. In fact, probably more than that. Right, that's pretty much all I did most of the playthrough. Then I sort of forced myself to do this. In fact, until last expansion, maybe I didn't play any of them at all. I can't really remember. I would try to fit certain things in there once in a while, but now they're sort of hard committed to the board. So if I can deal with this, I can obviously win. But, you know, it's not like my hand isn't burnt out too. Oh, why did I read Spine Tower? Spine Sour. Sower, obviously. There's this good comedy bit, like this guy goes through like 100 different words in English that don't make sense. Like, you know, I can't remember, but just the pronunciations are sort of inconsistent. Oh, I don't know. This is stupid. So I'm going to lose this, but then I can win the next two and make an epic comeback, which, again, this is historic. So everybody who is like a timeless, hysterical clown, like, oh, don't play in timeless, it'll be too hard, it'll be too overpowered, then you know, it doesn't matter because you know, historic is going to have very competitive shit as well, but maybe that just went perfectly for them, but certainly, I don't know, it just happened too fast. That's why that 3-mana 7/6 could turn the tide in a game anytime. I won one game last episode, I think, where it's just that. Like, I just summoned that and they just couldn't deal with it, and then you just win. But unfortunately, I'm too land starved to be able to do that. So now you have this one, and then you have the ability to do... I always object to being called a swamp too. A swamp seems like a land that would be a green-red hybrid, or not red, a green-black hybrid, right? It's a combination of like the forest and you know, a bit of a dark vibe to make it a swamp. The black should not be a swamp by default. It should be something else, like a little more nefarious. Discard a card, fine. I guess that's fine. We want to be able to play that thing next turn. Again, are we going to get to the point where we actually get the benefit of that? And the answer is probably not. If you control 6 or more lands, as if they couldn't just kill that somehow. No, they have such a good pacing on the board. Like, they always have something to play, it seems like. This is good. You could discard it for some other effect. This thing's going to be very nice. This is exactly my type of card. Even if you have to pay a little extra for it, just the curve and the ramp and the value is actually good. Imagine that. Good value cards, which you never get with any color besides green. But a +1/+1, each creature with a +1 has trample. Yeah, they just flood the board way too goddamn much. Which you think I would have done more as blue, because blue is all about water, and haha, so flooding it would make perfect sense. But even as green, I wouldn't do that, right? I would still have better statted minions, but I wouldn't summon so many of them like this. At least not so quickly. And then it gets to that hilarious interaction where they start to shrink down in size just to fit how many you have. So there is no board size limit, which I really would always have to wonder how that works in real life settings. If it even does work like that. I still don't know, because since these are the only two versions of the game I played, I don't know how that works in like Magic Arena. Discard a card, it gains indestructible till end of turn, tap it. If there are 4 more creature cards in your graveyard, transform it. Not really worth doing. I'll still keep doing this one, I guess, although I'm getting a little low myself. So we have 5 lands, so if I get one more, we can start getting infinite value with this dude. Right, assuming they can't deal with it, which, again, this guy's kind of like me. He can't deal with flying, and he can't deal with minions on the board. Like, he doesn't have removal at least. Evolution Witness. This is going to go against all these conspiracy theorists who say that evolution isn't a real thing. You know, what do you think? Dinosaurs are just made up, or... I don't know what they say, like it's Christians or theologists, like, oh, you know, how can you explain dinosaurs? Are you saying that dinosaurs became human beings? Like, how did that happen? So it must be God who explains that. Also, where was God then in the age of the dinosaurs when humans didn't even exist? Like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? This I'm not a fan of in terms of the amount of damage I'm taking. Like, just with the sheer amount of shit they have on the board, this is gonna come back to bite me. So I'll get the 5/5, but it'll have to be the next turn, so... I definitely won't attack with my 5/5 now. Although you realistically could attack with this, because they can't do anything about it, so just give me 14 turns and I can make that happen. So the thing that could win me the game now is the 1/1 dude that I keep making fun of. That, oh, imagine wasting a mythic card on that. But I don't like all this shit, man. God damn it. And I can't afford to block with him is kind of the point. Just give me a couple turns and I can turn this around, but you're doing too much buffing. You do a disservice to green. Green's not about buffing the way the white is, the degenerate clown playstyle that it is. It is actually, oh my god. It is about just good statting and value inherently, right? Rather than... Can I survive this, man? Okay, this one can go here. This one can go here. I don't think it's a mathematical impossibility to survive. It's just more so I won't accomplish anything by doing this. Fuck, because I'll have to give up that thing to do it. You get in 3, 6, 7, 8. Are you serious? So I'll only take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need, are you fucking serious? Because that would have been my one chance. If I could have dragged it out, I would have gotten, the 5 5s, which probably still wouldn't have mattered, but yeah, we got our one little last bit of glory there. So fucking annoying, this guy, dude. This deck doesn't even seem that good, but all this buffing. I don't like buffing and I don't like healing and I don't like flying either, in fact, because of the simple fact that, you know, whatever. Doesn't mean that they're bad mechanics. I just don't necessarily like to use them, although I do, I am obviously using flying a lot here, but it can't be helped. I mean, what else am I supposed to use besides dragons? Okay, so we'll go again. You figure I should always be able to do the daily quest every time. I don't want to waste too many of my wild cards on doing this either, but when I maybe split the deck in two, I don't know when exactly I'll even want to do that. Maybe when this one thing expires, which is not the end of the expansion, right? It couldn't be. The little orb thing. That seems like maybe the halfway point, so maybe I'll use that, and then I'll split the decks in two and do it like that. We get this guy again, but again, any normal deck is going to easily be able to remove that. And again, you can't complain about removal too much, I guess, in a game like this because of the simple fact that you have the ability to not attack minions. So of course you would need removal to get rid of stuff because that's the only way to do it. So it's very fitting, but that is sort of such an unusual mechanic that I can't believe is even a thing. Right, and all this time that, imagine not being able to attack minions and only being able to block. It is just so weird, especially for the time that this would have come out, right, in the infancy of card games, kind of, where I don't know, it's just not the way that you would think, or just so many card games make you used to not being able to do that. Or again, the whole purpose of so many card games like Pokemon is only to attack into the other Pokemon. There is no attacking the face. Basically, the implication is if you can attack their face, you just win. You would just kill them because they're just a worthless human trainer. Like, they're not going to actually be able to do anything. This maybe isn't even a very good idea.
Let us fight.
Discard a card if you do draw a card. I'm wanting to discard two. Okay, that's fine. No, I've beaten some gold rank players and stuff with this already, I'm pretty sure. So I was doing generally okay, but we're getting some weird matchups today where, because it's the beginning of the new season, actually, probably, that must be it, we're getting much more competitive, intense matchups. And the reason why is because, you know, we weren't seeing stuff quite like this last time. When it enters, they discard a card. This is still fine. Like, they're just beating me too much on the pace of the board, which is even more so still my style of play. You try to play on the board, but it's just not quite working out. And they have too much flying stuff, first of all. Oh my god, like what is with these minion heavy fucking decks? I actually don't even mind that quite as much. I just mind the buffing more. So artifact creatures. I mean, I could always drag out some of these, but my pace is just not keeping up with these people. I have to give them credit. They're at least not winning in the same annoying way that sometimes I complain about. Right, this is less of a win condition style than just, oh, they're just beating me on the board, which I don't mind. And I'm the type to do that too, but I guess this deck's pace is just way too slow. Even if it goes well, right, with all the sort of cost reduction dragon stuff, it still doesn't work out. They're first of all, they're summoning too many things, right, and flooding the board too much. You can't blame them. They're on the side of water. Of course they're going to flood the board. But also, they're just, you know, they're just not even letting me do anything. They're flooding the board too quickly. They're buffing too much. Like, I can't do anything. This is the problem. I'm getting curve screwed because of these low value dragons that we have. Like, they're even, this has happened in a few games here, they're burning out of their hand, so they have like nothing left, but they flood the board so effectively that, like, if I just had one AoE, then I could deal with it, or if I just had, you know, anything. But holy shit, man, what even is this? So it just costs 0. Okay, this is fine. This is actually a new card. That means it must be good with the power creep value. Okay. Even that I couldn't even naturally afford to play, so I maybe shouldn't have even bothered. They can tank the 3 life. Their position is so good, it's not going to matter. Even if some of these decks are very much meta, it doesn't bother me too much because you get such variety of them, whether that's because you play in Historic or Timeless, which is pretty much all I do. Right, like I haven't seen this exact deck very much or in a while or whatever, so our creature gets -5/-5. Yeah, he doesn't seem too worried about my side of the board because he's just a clown who, you know, does whatever the fuck he wants, so fuck it. I'm just getting so fucked on the basic value here. But my board's not too bad now. We can at least block the stupid Thopters, and we can also Esper Sentinel. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell, each turn draw a card unless they pay X, where X is their power. Grindstone with kind of a cool card appearance to it. Did you know that PvZ Heroes actually has better card art than this game or than Hearthstone? Because it's not even art. It's actually like, you know, fully animated the way that Yu-Gi-Oh games would sometimes do. Imagine having a digital card game and this is what you get. Oh, it's a digital card game, so you get to take advantage of all the visuals. Oh, wait, it's just a card that looks like a card. Like, what the fuck? There's no reason why it shouldn't be like that, where, you know, you have some sort of character model animation. You might say, oh, that's hard to do with the number of cards that they have in the game. There's way too many, but that's their job to do it. You get it sometimes with the mythic card that will appear like that, but it is surprising that they don't do that. Right, like, I get that it would be difficult, but this is supposed to be the most popular, greatest card game ever, whatever the fuck you want to call it, which in many ways it's not in the way they present it here, because there's too much other weird shit, like whether it's cards that are exclusively made for this version or too many crossovers, which might be inherent to the game anyway. But
I will not falter.
7 indestructible, -10 artifacts and Planeswalker you control, gain indestructible until end of turn, destroy all non-land permanents. Well, I guess we're fucked. right? Because he's just going to destroy all non-land permanents, period. So I may as well just do it. In fact, I may as well even attack into him to try to stop him from doing that. Whatever you want to block, go ahead and do it. I don't give a shit. Right, I'll pretty much just lose the game anyway, or at least I'll lose everything. So I don't care. That is how incredibly stupid that is. So this guy is... Artifact, instant, sorcery spells you cast this turn cost 2 less to cast, you gain 2 life. You may activate the abilities of Urza twice each turn. Oh my fucking god. Yeah, I mean, we just saw him do that. Okay, can we just do it? We'll at least hit him with one thing, surely. Or at least he gave up a lot to do it. Now, he can easily... I probably did. But now, at least if you do it, there's only so much on the field. So that was still the right play to make. Because you have, you know, you can do it still, though. Which is utterly fucking nonsense. Would it really be worth it, though, now? Because you only destroyed 3 of my minions. And you only gave a buff to 1 of your thing. So honestly, that was a great outcome for me compared to what we could have had. If I just waited and stood pat, I would have been screwed. I can kind of deal with this board, I guess. If I just... Unfortunately, I can't do anything with that. And I'm going to lose... Imagine that. A dragon is going to lose to flying. A dragon user, because... And he's going to get it back up to 10 very easily.
Fetch me more power stones.
Enters tapped and doesn't untap during an untapped step. Whenever you cast a historic spell, untap. A historic spell? Like, meaning anything you can use in this format? Like, what the fuck does that even mean? Because... Okay, now at least I can beat up on this guy a little bit. In fact, I'll beat up multiple times here. Just because you'll have to trade in that, which is fine, because I can't do anything anyway. Or wait. Oh, no, I'm acting like that has haste. I'm obviously going to lose, but I'm just sort of indulging the fact that we lasted a decent amount of time. But I love all the lore you sort of hear about here through the cards and the text and everything, right? Like Scourge of Krug and all this kind of stuff. Like, where is the MMO, dude? Give me the MMO that shows me all these places and all these things. And he's a raid boss, and you go into a fucking whatever. Like, it's just, give me a single player RPG, give me anything. But again, all the games in this universe still have to do with card. You know, you play it in the form of a card game still. I don't think there's any adventure game where you get to run around and do stuff. And there was one that was canceled. But the more I see stuff to do with this universe, it kind of deserves it. Okay, whatever. You win, dude. You win. I don't... You might think I'm BMing and wasting time, but... I just don't like to resign. But no, I did like that play, at least where you got to...
At any cost.
You know, I got to sort of survive that by at least attacking in with everything because you knew it was coming. So he had that as a minion that turned into this, obviously. So is that the only way to get him, or can you have that as a card too? You know, I won't even say I didn't have fun. That's fine. That deck was at least a little different than what we've seen. That's usually how all of these things are. Maybe it asked that because I've lost like 3 in a row. So I'm the dude who doesn't matter. I could lose 100 in a row, but I still enjoy it because of whatever I'm using or the style of play or whatever, right? It's not about the zero-sum outcome that anybody can control just with the deck that they're using, which has 95% of the impact. I had all these expressions like that, right? Like, your deck is 75% of the outcome, right? Like 75% of card games is just your deck, and then 25% is just RNG and luck. So in other words, 0% is the player, or something along those lines. 70% is the deck, 20% is RNG, and 10% is you as the player, or something like that. Which again, at the high level, of course, that 10% is going to be a big deal, right, to distinguish you, but all the rest of the way, it's just not that important necessarily. I do like Turgrid and Turgrid's Lantern. Those are 2 cards that somebody specifically suggested to me in a YouTube comment, which would normally constitute meta decking, net gaming, but net gaming, meta decking. I'm not saying it exactly right. Net decking and metagaming, but it's not, because they're not really cards that are optimal or that good, right? They just thought I would like them because of me talking about, you know, cucking their ability to play stuff, which it doesn't do it exactly the right way, because the fact that they can lose health instead makes it a little bit easier to deal with. But you have this ability to, what do you call it? What's the other one? Like Painful Quandary, that was the other one they suggested. But no, I like the core idea of it, but I wish it was almost more forced, where they have no choice but to even do that. You get a dragon, which apparently I don't even have, so fuck it. Hexproof from black. Garruk's Harbinger. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may put reveal a creature card or Garruk card from it and put it into your hand. Okay, I'm fine with that because I don't really want to. Well, it's not like the beetle has much value to it anyway, but whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Maybe I should have prevented that, but we do get the Lantern already. And again, if we get cucked on actually being able to play anything, we can always just do this too. Where we untap it and do it again. Which has happened a couple times where I can actually do that relatively easily. It's very important to get the value from this though, no matter what I do, which I'm not getting. Like, how is it possible? What the fuck are the chances of that? This guy's indestructible, which is pretty annoying. Or, you know what, you might think, oh, this has to do with the current expansion because it's all to do with squirrels and stuff, but it's actually not. This is something that we saw super early on in playing the game. You know, for whatever reason. So it is a much older card. You know, maybe I'll just do that anyway, but so we're never gonna get a dragon from this guy, just to be clear, right? They just don't exist in the game. You can do this, Flying Trample, that'll at least be good to trade into something. You can hit their face with this, and then you can attack in with that. Maybe I should have done that first to see if we get a dragon that might change what I'm gonna play, but technically we're never gonna get a dragon at all because there's just none in this fucking deck apparently. But no, it almost should have been that every single minion in this deck is only a dragon, and so in other words, red is the only way. That's my core gimmick criteria, which it's not, but like every minion has to be a dragon, which has a bias towards red, and then every non-minion spell or non-minion card has to be a black card, so that has a bias towards it being like a spell that makes them discard stuff or whatever the fuck. Okay, I'd be willing to do that because that thing's just been running rampant the whole game, and if you buff this too much, I won't be able to ever do anything about it, of course. This thing is pretty good. And again, this guy's effect is quite good, and I'm surprised he hasn't done more to stop it throughout the course of this game. Like, you know, I've gotten so many dragons from it. A lot of the time people would just tank the damage and it wouldn't be a big deal, but I guess in this case it is fine because, you know, they actually don't seem to have any healing or anything like that. Discard any number of cards and then draw them any +1. But then what else does it do? At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, put a board counter on it. Then if there are 3 or more board counters, remove the counters and transform it. Whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana produced by it, you discover X where X is that spell's mana value. Okay, this thing can easily be blocked. Okay, if you get the 3/1, I'm pretty happy about that. So this is kind of good ongoing value. You have this where, you know, that could be a horrible idea when they only have 2 cards in their hand, so I really don't want to even do it. I'm pretty comfortable with my board position and everything now. Deals 4 damage to target player or planeswalker, which is not really even what I want to do. Deal 1 damage to each opponent and creature your opponent controls, which I'm doing that more so just farm up the count, right, rather than actually thinking that that's going to kill something. Search for library for any number of dragons, put them on the battlefield, and shuffle. Like, that is a game-changing, clinching play, obviously. Although, apparently, according to this dude, I don't have any fucking things in my deck. But no, like, this is sometimes a horrible thing to play because you were just, you know, they're burning out of cards and you just give them a freebie. I could attack with that, but I think it's much more important to block. Or then again, it's really not, because I should have just fucking tried to finish him off right now. You know, you have the 4 damage there and you have the 5, so I almost could have just killed him. Even here, my love of dinosaurs comes out, but okay, you can do that. We should literally mathematically have a lethal option here, but maybe we're like 1 damage short, which is going to be annoying. Okay, we may as well just do that. Opponent discards a card, also has flying. So I won't use the Sarkhan effect here to do damage, but I will hit you in the face with this maybe, or maybe I shouldn't. We're going to let this basically drag out too long with the flying because, you know, oh, I'll wait till I'll have lethal, but then I never will because they're going to keep improving their board, or they're going to heal or do some shit. Transform it into what? Other creatures you control get +1/+1 and have trample and have haste. Oh shit, this is an actual old god Cthulhu type thing. This should be almost a black card, green and black hybrid. But you would think that might be my favorite combination in the whole game, because you have, you know, the aesthetic of green and the... You have the aesthetic of... Or no, you have the aesthetic of black that I like those kind of visuals, even though that was a green card. Old god type of aesthetic and things like that. Oh shit, he's intimidated, but there's no guarantee I would have won that. Right, maybe I just got lucky that game and they were still putting up a good fight. And it almost seemed like I was BMing them, but their health was just out of arm's reach, so I don't want to take a chance and overcommit and then they, you know, they come back. Okay, let me do one more. So I am enjoying this deck actually a lot more maybe than the blue and white. I didn't enjoy the white at all. There was no aspect of playing white last expansion that I didn't think I enjoyed. But I do like... I did like blue just on the basis of the hexproof and mechanics like that I do enjoy. So let's see what we can do here. But see, I am capable of winning some of these games. It's just a question of... Maybe that is going to be unfair, too, if I say... Oh, I just have to go into it and just do... I don't know. I should just do it, though. Like, I haven't played in a serious ladder way at all. Maybe since that one time I got to platinum, because that was as far as I was trying to get to platinum that month just for the fuck of it. Just to see, like, how far I could get. But then again, it all comes down to how much you play, too. It's not even that I couldn't get farther if I played a little bit longer, but... You know, I've never played that much in my whole time playing this game, so it's not even really an excuse. It's just like, you know, first of all, it comes down so much to the deck, but second of all, it comes down to how much time you actually put in. Because again, it's on a monthly basis. If it was like on a season basis, then I'd have no fear. Like, you know, every expansion, your rating kind of works for that. Right, there almost should be a format or a mode that lets you play into that, where you get to, you know, you have the whole 3 months or 4 months of the whole expansion to try to ladder and see how far you can get. Because a month can be very punishing, right? Unless you play like every day or you play a ton, right? So for a filthy casual like me, it doesn't work out too well. There was one thing to do with discarding, I feel like that, or you know what it is? It wasn't discarding, it was to do with toxic, where... Actually, we can play that on curve, so that's fine. You like something that gives all your bugs in your deck toxic, and then you have something that turns everything into a bug or everything into a certain type of your choice. So in other words, you could just turn everything into toxic. There was something like that Extinction Event, and it especially feels fitting when it's talking about dinosaurs, because obviously that's what really happened. Or that's what happened to my art character, actually. When it enters, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or planeswalker, which I guess that went totally to waste, but what are your other effects here? Exile it, return to the battlefield transformed. For each opponent, destroy up to one target creature or planeswalker they control. Each opponent discards 3 cards and mills them. Okay, well, I guess we won't get a chance to use that anyway. The whole exile, oh fuck, or no, I can still do it. The whole exiling aspect is not a big deal for me, because normally I don't have stuff that really interacts with the graveyard too much. At least we're both in top deck mode, but I presume they have more value than I do, but maybe they don't. Now they're almost obligated to trade because they're worried about me getting through that, I guess. Or, I don't know. What do you get again? Flying 2/2 at the end of your beginning of each of your opponent's upkeep. If they have 2 or fewer cards, they deal 2 damage. Not really that special anyway. Right, I like it just maybe more for the base effect. Just when it enters, it made them discard. I like this though, because it makes their deck seem not very good, just like mine, where you do have the ability to you know, take advantage of top deck mode, but either a really good deck will never get in top deck mode, or even when it does, it has ways to recover, right? To kind of cycle through and card draw and all kind of shit. So we will actually get that thing. Oh, do I have to give this guy up, or why did it even say? Oh, I guess it was just giving me the option to pay with this guy instead of that, not that I have to do it. Exile target creature. I don't even think that had to do with it though. Why does that even matter? Eat to extinction. More like the United States in the 2020s, am I right? Literal fucking the art of war. If you reveal their hand, or no need to even do that. It is a case where, like, what do you call it? The only thing fast about Americans is their food. Zinny the Pooh, not my quote, but because he looks like Winnie the Pooh. But no, it's like, what was the other one? The art of war. In order to defeat an empire, you have to make them choke on their own riches. Literally, the United States with fast food, make them choke on it by making them obese. But I mean, it's a more general expression that you could use, right? Choke them on their own riches. Make them fat and happy, literally. So we're beating a gold player, and clearly they won't come back here. Play an additional land. I highly doubt that's going to help. See, for all their pretension, oh, look at them, they're a gold player, haha. Right, what good did it do you? And before they beat me the next 2 games in a row. The world tree can be very cancer at times. You get so kind of convoluted, right? Whatever it is they're trying to do is just too complicated. Whereas what I'm doing is much more straightforward. Like, I'm just summoning stuff and just beating you with it, you know, a little bit of discarding, but it's pretty much straightforward. So it doesn't mean we'll win the next one. That could have just been a fluke, or now they know my style of play, or now they're sideboarding like a clown that obviously I've never sideboarded in the history of this game. Right, that's part of my whole format and challenge on top of everything else. Free to play, first playthrough, you know, emphasis on green, although you would question my emphasis on green because you'd say, like, what the fuck does that mean when, you know... In fact, this is the land color cuckery that's about to happen. I'm going to have enough land to play something, but it won't be the right color land now because it'll be 2 black and 1 red. Music is very sinister. Okay, so we need one more red for sure. Or we just need two more of something overall. The Binding of the Titans. No, I prefer Binding of Isaac personally. I love that implication though. Like the Binding of Isaac and Smite will get banned because people get religiously offended by the way it portrays, you know, Christianity, or in the case of Smite, all these other religions that, again, some of them people still believe today, or a lot of them, you know, arguably you could believe. And so why wouldn't you say that people could potentially get offended by you exploiting or, you know, turning it into a business, into a game? Like, I don't think of things that way, but I'm sure that people get offended by all kinds of shit. So that's the level of stupidity that we have. But then again, what right do you have to take Zeus and, you know, do that where, you know, like who owns Zeus in terms of an IP, right? So I could just write a book about Zeus and I just can do that. Like there's no restriction because, I don't know. You know, I may as well just do that. Or it's not really worth it. Or can I not undo it? Oh, sometimes it lets you... Sometimes it lets you... Oh, no. It doesn't let you cancel the choice, but then once you make the choice, then it lets you cancel. That's like the touch move rule or something in fucking... Discard a card, gains indestructible, don't care about that. 4 more creatures in your graveyard, which is certainly not any, even. See, the pace of this game is what's going to let them win now, because I've had so much time to play stuff and beat on their stupid face, but, you know, I'm just not, I'm getting cucked on land, which, I mean, this happens with, like, every deck I ever use, just because they're not good, I guess, but it's unbelievable to me that this can even happen. Like, it is kind of a mid to high curve sort of deck at times, again, mainly because the dragons are such shitty value that they cuck you that way, but exile the target player's graveyard, which again, I don't care about that at all. Bro, see, now we're not getting cucked on the number of lands, but we're getting cucked on the... Like, I deserve to lose this game. I deserve to lose it because it's just pointless. Like, what am I getting out of this? How does this help me in any way? Like, I'm just sitting here fucking doing nothing. The Collector. Target opponent discards half the cards in their hand rounded down. So it's fine because you get to realize that you weren't going to ever be able to play those anyway because you're just not getting any red land in your whole life. So you may as well keep the ones that you might be able to play here. Discard another card. Like, I don't give a shit. Although this... I'm only at 4 land though, so the likelihood of me getting to that is pretty low. Okay, dude. What the fuck? When he dies, target opponent sacrifices non-land permanent they control rounded down. Defending player mills half of their library. I mean, I have to enjoy that. This is going to be the fucking... what is it? The Golden Castle of Stromberg effect, literally. There's only one card left in my deck. That means it's impossible for me to deposit half of it into the graveyard. So therefore, the effect wouldn't work. Right, but then again, that one doesn't say rounded up or rounded down. Okay, dude. Wait, what? Wait, I'm confused. Oh, he did it just to replace... What? Oh, and it... Okay, dude. And it died, too. It died, too. Discards 2 cards that they can't even do. But no, that was more so because the fact of him discarding stuff was powering the castle. But then the castle dies out. But you could say that on any turn. I have 13 cards, so how do I discard half? Right, so there must have been some rule implicit to it. I'm fact-checking the whole Yu-Gi-Oh thing. Like, when you had 13 cards, you must have discarded 6 or 7, so you're either rounding up or down, but you're able to not realize that... I guess there's no reason not to go face there unless you intend to block now, though. But the point is that, again, in other stages, any odd number you would round up or down. So with one card, the same rule would apply. I guess it would imply that you've been rounding down because, or maybe you always just had an even number of cards in your deck, but you must be rounding down, in which case with one card you won't really do it at all. Why is this fucking flickering like that? Okay, just win this one and then we can have the final showdown, best of 3. Epicness, that is the whole reason why I like this format. Come on though, you're too fucking slow, man. I hate that about these people. Like, you're obviously gonna win. Like, what? Well, maybe not, but I mean, I'm gonna mill in a very interesting way that, you know, this is a pretty fun card actually. When he enters, you discard half the cards in their hand. When he attacks, they discard half their library, mill. And then when they die, so I love that. He played one of them over itself because you can only have one of, is it one of a legendary or one of a myth, one of the same mythic type? No, I don't think mythic has anything to do with it. It must be, you can only have one of the same legendary creature out there. And the reason why is because, whatever, it's just too good to have two of the same effect or whatever. And so you have, but no, I got really cucked on land this game. I don't think that's gonna bother them at all, but I have to save myself to block here. Like, I love this. They're gonna win, but it's gonna take them about 100 hours to do it. It's kind of like how a classical game of chess would be over the board. You go through so much fucking monotony. But then again, that's just to get a draw. So that's the one good thing about card games that they have over games like chess, is they don't have draws or ties ever because of the random nature of it. But their deck doesn't seem that good though, really, because look how long it took them. If I didn't get cucked on land so hard the whole game, I would have actually been able to play some minions on the board and they might have been low enough to actually do something like. But no, this is my type of card to the T, but it would just be more like, instead of paying a discard effect, you would just have it be green, and that alone would be a 3-mana 5/5 with no additional cost. I almost want to lose to the mill effect rather than, you know, I almost just want to see that play out, since we are just deliberately indulging how much time is being wasted here. Lose 3 life, which is not a big deal at all. Like, you really gonna consider sacrificing that, dude? Like, are you stupid? You could easily afford to lose the 3 life. It's not like I can do anything anyway. Yeah, you're a fucking bot, dude. You're a fucking bot. Like, why are you thinking? Why are you even thinking? Cycling 3, yeah, this is literally what it's called in this game, but I always say that as a general rule. Like, you know, any good deck is gonna have card draw and cycle through their deck, and, you know, whatever that. Dude, what the fuck are you doing? Can you please just hurry up? You're trying to be maybe like extra careful or try to BM me, but I can't even say I hate this guy's deck. I like the fact that this might be the only minion they have, and everything else is just card destruction. You don't see that very often, actually, land destruction. And it's not even really very good value. 3 mana just to get rid of 1 land. Is that really that good of a card? Like, yeah, I've rarely ever seen that, actually, in 2 years of playing. How many land destruction? Not even that it's a land destruction committed deck or something, but just that it is. Okay, I'll just do this because we badly need the land. But no, that was very unfair, because not only did I not get enough land, period, that game, but I didn't get enough red land, obviously, for what we had. So there is some interplay with that. Normally, I say that's not a big deal, because most things will only require like 1 or 2 of the particular color that they have. So out of 7 mana, are you really worried about the fact that this is like just the #1 most milled card in this deck? I never fucking give a shit about it. Right, it's not even good. I don't even care, but I just don't even have enough dragons, period. So I try to have like 1 of each, or, you know, 1 of every different cost, kind of. Now, I have a real vendetta against Magic the Gathering players with how slow they move. Like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Some sort of mathematical amazing equation in their hand. Like, my decks are so fucking simplistic that you shouldn't need to think so hard either to beat them. Like, it's a clown fucking shit deck. Why are you being such a tryhard at fucking gold rank against a bronze? Like, but go ahead and do it, man. Like, his deck's so complicated. He's a genius. Like, good for him. And he's still gonna fucking lose in very simplistic fashion. So what does that say? Especially at the beginning of the game. Like, okay. So we'll do the black just in case we need it. Again, my whole win condition is, can I actually play stuff on the board, period, in the game? And the answer is, normally I can never do that. And the reason why is because I'm not going to have enough land, or now I'm not going to have any minions that I can actually play. Alright, that's fine, although, see, you would never... I'm actually impressed that you can do that. Wait, what? Wait, what? I'm confused. I just did it and it didn't work. I swear, I just hit OK. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You should have been able to do it. And now I'll never find out because... What the fuck? I guess you would have still been able to do that though anyway, but... So I have 5 land, 6 mana basically, so I can... I don't mind doing that. This would be pretty favorable for me now because... What? Oh, fuck. I would be able to... I mean, I guess you don't have to. You just do that for the count, but... Okay. I would have done it for the sake of... Sacrifice creature, lose 4 life, discard 2 cards. I don't really see why I would even want to do that right now. It seems like, oh, this is too top heavy, which some of these I really would agree. There's no reason to have these. If I really was serious about building this, I would just have multiple copies of the same lower cost ones, because this is fucking stupid. Like, why would I want to wait this long to be able to do anything in the fucking game, dude? It's just so dumb. It's not even like these are really good value. Or it's not when you summon it, it's when you actually deal damage to them, which they do have a ton of removal in here, which is pretty fucking spectacular. But for some reason, I don't actually hate their deck that much, but, you know, these are expensive cards. You could just as easily justify it by doing, you know, a lower cost card that doesn't exile it. It just destroys it for like 1 mana less. Is it really worth it, man? Like, you're paying such expensive cards for all this little shit. If they lost life this turn, which they obviously haven't. So, I mean, I'd almost be willing to do this just because I have nothing in my hand. The fact that this does it for both players makes it kind of a little fruitless, but... Yeah, maybe next time I should... maybe next time I should decide to basically make the deck have multiple copies of stuff, and then I'll do that for a couple episodes, and then after that I'll split black and red into multiple different kinds, basically. Can I please just play a fucking thing once in my life? You at least can't deal with the blocking, which means with the flying, which means unless you have infinite more removal, which of course you do, then I sacrifices not half the non-land permanents. Well, it doesn't even really matter. I don't even care so much about that, right? Because, you know, I'm still, as long as I can play something, but rounded down would then mean 0, wouldn't it? Because, or when only when it dies too. So of course he'll find a way to make it die without me even killing it by playing itself over itself. For fuck's sake, man. At least this is sort of an exciting way to lose sometimes, but see, isn't it an accomplishment that I even beat them once? And I could have easily beaten them the other 2 games. It's not even like they did anything that crazy. It's like I have this problem where I'm unable to actually play anything because I'm just getting cucked on land super hard. So maybe I'll change this next time and do what I was saying, like I'll make it a low cost curve with respect to having multiple copies of the same thing, namely that 3 mana 7/6 and other things of that nature. I actually want to lose to the mill effect, but I'm not even being able to get to that point. They have a fuckload of removal, and this seems to be like the only minion that they have in the whole deck. Yeah, and now, man, I'm not saying that I hate land as a mechanic, but look, dude. Okay, that's fine. It seems so one-sided in the first game. Like, if I just get on a decent curve and can actually play stuff. Like, let me actually look at the curve of this deck and try to understand it, because it seems totally nonsensical that you would basically be able to have that issue happen so much. Even if you get cucked on the colors a little bit, I don't mind that. But I have, you know, 7, 7, 7, 7, 6, 6, 5. I guess it's not that bad. I mean, you do have a lot of low-cost cards, but that's basically what I would do. Is I would say, okay, let me have 4 copies of this and 4 copies of this, and I still don't have too many low-cost things though, period. 4 copies of this and 4 copies of this, and like just whatever, right? Kind of stack that up a bit, so just get rid of some of the higher cost things. But I mean, I do like this deck. In fact, let me maybe do one more, but these people take fucking forever, and it just sort of triggers me. Let me do one more, because I don't want to end off on that shitty note of that clown game. Let me just get a game where I can actually show, or a best of 3, where I can actually show, like, okay, if I get stuff on a good curve, that's all I need, and then we'll see what happens from there. But, you know, I'm just not ever having that happen. I might have to mulligan more aggressively. I'll just mulligan fucking 6 times to actually get a decent hand, which is still better than probably any of these that I've been getting. That was my first mulligan ever, because I didn't understand how it works, that you actually lose a card every time you do it. Because I didn't realize, like, what if I just keep doing it over and over? I can do it as many times as I want, but I didn't realize what would happen. Okay, that's not a bad hand. A decent amount of land, nothing you can really play for a while, but no, the Convoke effect is actually not too bad in this kind of deck. It just makes no sense in green when I have so many minions that give me mana anyway. Sometimes even more mana than they would give me from the Convoke. Oh, this, you know, this guy's a troll for that deck size, which I don't mind. I'm something of a troll myself. Stupid ass healing thing is gonna ruin me the whole game though. I never care about my health too much, but I always care about the, you know, I care more so about their ability to heal, because then whatever little win condition I might have goes out the window. Right, like, it's just going to be annoying. I almost have to play in like an aggro style all of the time to win these type of games, but the amount of fucking removal, man. That should always give me some proper ability to play stuff here. Yeah, and now that I think about it, as much as the Convoke seems all cute, it's a 7 mana 4/4, so like what the fuck am I missing? Why is that card even in my deck, let alone in the game, when it's so fucking dog shit? So I can create a 4/4 dragon, which is still better than whatever else I can do with this deck, so if you can't deal with these, this is all you would need to try to win the game. I do like the Shivan Dragon value too. Not that it's the greatest, but just if you can give that as perpetual value, right, every turn that you just keep getting something is fine. So it becomes a 4/4, and it also conjures Shivan Dragon. And so now you can just keep playing that every turn. So like this one pretty well in terms of the curve. Even though 2 of those are not really minions, you can just keep doing that every turn. Okay, this should be fine. Bleaching Lurker. Also known as my friend who always steals my comments and puts them on YouTube, right? He lurks in my chat and he lurks around and he always steals whatever stupid quotes I have or jokes, and then one of my friends makes clips of them sometimes, but one of them posts them on YouTube comments. The actual leeching lurker. I love that one that got 100k fucking upvotes. It is on the video of Magnus. Magnus can't believe this position is a draw. And then it's just spoilers. It's actually the normal starting position in chance, because that's always a fucking draw anyway. That one went reasonably well. So that's the kind of game I want to show that, oh, look at that. If I just get a decent curve, which is virtually impossible. Even that wasn't really the best curve, because it was that stupid treasure token thing that carried me with the mana, right? I don't know why dragons are just so antithetical to good value. You have to go so far out of your way to get it, or you have to have the perfect synergy or something, or you have to, use the treasure tokens or use some other effect or get some other effect to justify why it costs so much from it, or, all this other stupid shit. Bro, you good? You good, bro? How long does it let you? Pressing QQ will tap all your creatures, non-creatures that add mana, and float it up until you use it. All your non-creatures that add mana. So you're basically your land or your fucking treasure tokens and stuff. I would almost want that to tab the minions that do it too. Sometimes it gets a little confused, or it does it in the wrong way. Like, oh, I could have used land for that, but it instead taps the minion or something. Right, you have to be a little careful about that. So the bro just went away. Like, how long would it really let you do this? Bro is gonna sideboard and make a whole new deck from fucking scratch. He's literally looking up at net decking, but that won't do you any good against me, because what I'm using is fucking dog shit anyway. Yeah, really, it doesn't give you any indication that they have a time limit there, so how long can they actually do that for? I can understand if you're doing it too, then you wouldn't mind, but... Now, it doesn't mean that he couldn't potentially win a couple of these, but... Why is everybody so slow? Like, it just triggers me. Like, you're playing at bronze. You're playing at fucking bronze rank. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Or even when it is a higher rank player, you're playing against the fucking bronze player, so you also shouldn't feel the need. Like, I understand if I'm playing a mythic or some shit and people are tryharding, go ahead, tryhard, but... Oh my god. And some of these decks, oh, they seem so complicated, but they're really not. It's just like they're insular. Like, oh, they'll have these really complicated interactions, but they only work with one another, so the deck is meant to do that, and it's built around that. So it's like, you know what I mean? It seems sort of deceptive at times. Okay. So he can take as long as he wants from the sideboard. He can take as long as he wants here. He's just doing this to troll. Like, he's just trying to troll and waste my time. I guess it's possible people could snipe you in games like this too if they just look up your username, but how do you know that I really have I don't have like TTV or some shit in my name the way that some people do. Right, like I'm not advertising my channel by doing this, because nobody knows I have a channel based on that. That's just my name. Like, bro, I don't care, man. You really want to be like this? Like, you could win. You could easily win. Maybe I'll get cucked on lands for the millionth time ever. Like, bro, why you gotta be like this? Like, who cares? It's a bronze ranked matchup. Just play the game. Bronze wank. Okay, I'm not even doing another one. That's good enough, dude. These people just want to waste your fucking time for no reason. But no, I at least beat a gold rank player, I think, in a best of 3 overall, but then I also beat them at least in a game. So it shows you it's not really all that bad. Not that gold is really the standard to live up to, but when you're a bronze, it's like, it's not as though I'm... Mastery expires in 21 days, but how can that be? Until the next set's... That doesn't seem right at all, though. That seems like a half of an expansion. That couldn't be the end of the expansion. We just fucking started. Like, we did, we did the draft, and we've only done like 4 episodes, so it's only been a month. Right, so this must be something else altogether. Okay, see you tomorrow.